last night I watched the first, I guess, segment half of 60 Minutes, and then I get back to the calls, 888-7753-773. And there was an interview of Harry Potter guy, not Harry Potter, but Harry, formerly known as Prince. He was a prince from Europe, and he ended up getting involved with a black woman, and now he is a mess. He went from prince to failure. And so last night, he was being interviewed on 60 Minutes. Harry, formerly known as Prince, right? Prince Harry. He was being interviewed by Anderson Cooper on 60 Minutes last night. And I'm watching this, and I'm thinking, this man is miserable. The so-called Prince Harry went from bad to worse of the worst. He is not a happy person at all. And I was thinking, it's amazing that our battle is a spiritual battle. And it doesn't matter your status, how much money you have or don't have, how many hands you shake or don't shake, how much you travel around the world, how much land you own, or any of that. You still could be a miserable person. All material things does not bring real happiness. It brings a temporary fake happiness, but not the real deal. Isn't that amazing? The prince is miserable. And he sounded as though he was unhappy when he lived in Europe before he met that black gal, Megan, whatever her name is. What a mess. But he's worse now. Physical things cannot solve spiritual issues. People, places, and things, and medications, and all that will not solve the spiritual issues. You must be born again. Until you're born again of the Spirit of the Father, you will never know perfect peace. The heart must change. And this guy, I think Nick told me they own the land in Canada. Don't they own Canada, Nick, or something like that? Amazing. They own Canada. What the? And still miserable. And they own Australia too? What the? All the land of the world, it seems. And they're still miserable. I'm telling you, folks, what you're looking for is within you. It's not without. No human being, nothing. It doesn't matter the title. No preacher, no prophet, no prophetic, whatever the women call themselves now. No money, no degree, no nothing outwardly can bring you peace. If you're not born of the Spirit of the Father, if you've not returned to the Father, you're miserable. And the answer is not outside. Prince Harry is miserable. You can look at him, I can, in this interview, and you can see that this is a lost soul. And when he was being interviewed last night by Anderson Cooper, I wonder, why is he doing this? Is it for the money? Because what he's talking about is dumb anyway. It's not helping anyone. It's like stuff he made up to put out there to benefit something physical from it. I don't know if it's money or really trying to destroy his family or this black guy got him doing it. Because it doesn't make sense otherwise. Where did that come from that you should write a book to destroy your family and yourself? You know that's evil. And he's not hurting them at all. He's hurting himself. Because what you do to others, you're doing it to yourself, really. You're not doing it to anyone else. You think you are because the devil is deceiving. So Prince Harry was on 60 Minutes last night. And this is from, these soundbites are from CBS. about this interview with Prince Harry, and I thought it was like, really, I felt for him, meaning that I could see that he could not see. I had no idea how miserable Prince Harry is, formerly known as Prince Harry. What a loser, right? This is where Harry's trouble with his family. He talked about his troubles with his family and how his mother's death affected him. Watch this.
I think so many people around the world watched you and your brother grow up and feel like you two were inseparable. And yet in reading the book, you have lived separate lives. Even when you were in the same school, your brother told you, pretend we don't know each other.
Yeah, and at the time it hurt. I couldn't make sense of it. I was like, what do you mean? We're now at the same school. Like, I haven't seen you for ages. Now we get to hang out together? He's like, no, when we're at school, we don't know each other. And I took that personally.
In August 1997,
I had a huge amount of frustration and blame towards the British press. But I resorted to drinking heavily because I wanted to numb the feeling.
Harry admits he smoked pot and used cocaine and writes that in his late 20s, he felt hopeless and lost.
There was this weight on my chest that I felt for so many years, and I was never able to cry. So I was constantly trying to find a way to cry, but even sitting on my sofa and going over as many memories as I could muster up about my mum. And sometimes I watched videos online.
Of your mom?
Of my mum.
Hoping to cry?
Yep.
Well, a beta. Prince Harry is a beta. A weak, pathetic, excuse of a person. Now his wife see all his little weak. She gonna wear, that black woman ain't done with him yet. My mum? What kind of grown man say mommy? All the money and all the fame. This man still on drugs, according to him, was still using drugs and drinking. I'm telling you, finance, trying to be like someone else, being jealous and envious and trying to hurt others ain't it. You don't want to be like anyone else. You want to be you. And when you're in school, if you're the baby brother and you have an older brother, they don't want you hanging around them at school because they showing off with the girls. They try to be there. They don't need their little baby. It's a little ego thing, but they don't need the baby brother hanging around there. Who doesn't go through that? Who don't have to deal with those kinds of things in school? Get over it. My brother didn't want me hanging out with him at school. Like, didn't want to know me. That's what big brothers do. Get out of the way, little kid. Now, I want to remind you that this guy lived in a great big house. He didn't have to do anything for himself. Butlers and maids and nurses and everything was made available for him. He didn't have to pay to fly. And yet he's miserable. It's a spiritual thing. And there are people who wish they were the royal family. They want to be like them. They wish they lived there. They wish they had, look at Meghan. It didn't work out for her either. It's a spirit, folks. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spirits and principalities and wickedness. Money and fame, being poor, being rich is not going to solve it. You must be born again of the heart. And so I played you the first soundbite and how miserable he was and how he suffered how he was affected as a result of his mother's death. And he talked about how he resented his father for marrying his stepmother and that he even asked him not to marry her. I agree with him that fathers and mothers should not remarry when they have children. There's no need for it. And it hurts the children. It's bad enough when they lose one or the other parent. It's even worse when they bring in a step-parent. But the parents do it out of selfishness for themselves because they have no love. They don't love their children. Because if they love their children, they wouldn't bring another person between the children. Here's where this guy, Harry, describes how the royal family reacted to Meghan, his wife. Watch this.
In his book, Harry writes that when he introduced Meghan Markle to his family in 2016, his father initially took a liking to her, but William was skeptical, disdainfully referring to Meghan as an American actress.
Right from the beginning, before they even had a chance to get to know her, and here we are.
And what was that based on, that mistrust?
The fact that she was American, an actress, divorced, black, and a large part of it for the family, but also the British press and numerous other people was like, he's changed. She must be a witch. As opposed to, yeah, I did change, and I'm really glad I changed. Because rather than getting drunk, falling out of clubs, taking drugs, I'd now found the love of my life.
Soon after their relationship became public, Harry insisted on putting out a statement condemning some of the tabloid coverage of Meghan and what he called, quote, the racial undertones of comment pieces.
You write that your dad and your brother, William, were furious with you for doing that. Why?
They felt as though it made them look bad. I went into this incredibly naive. I had no idea the British press was so bigoted. Hell, I was probably bigoted before the relationship with Meghan.
You think you were bigoted before the relationship with Meghan?
I don't know. Put it this way, I didn't see what I now see.
What an idiot.
They were married in May 2018 in a ceremony that seemed to promise a more modern and inclusive royal family.
Isn't that amazing? He married a woman that had been married before, and he didn't know he was a bigot. Now he think that he is. What a mess! Poor guy, huh? Talk about beta. How can someone convince you that you're bigoted, whatever that is? How can you let some dumb black woman desperate for attention to convince you of that? This man has not seen misery yet. I'm sure you've seen a whole lot of from being married, but you haven't seen anything yet. What the? Now he believes racism exists. Poor guy. Here's where he talked about leaving the royal family. Watch this.
In January 2020, Prince Harry and Meghan announced they intended to, in their words, step back as senior members of the royal family. They moved to California 3 months later. Then there was the headline-grabbing interview with Oprah Winfrey and a deal with Netflix worth a reported $100 million. Critics say the Duke and Duchess are cashing in on their royal titles while they still can.
Why not renounce your titles as Duke and Duchess?
And what difference would that make?
One of the criticisms that you've received is that, okay, fine, you want to move to California, you want to step back from the institutional role. Why be so public? Why reveal conversations you've had with your father or with your brother? You say you tried to do this privately.
And every single time I've tried to do it privately, there have been briefings and leakings and planting of stories against me and my wife.
Amazing. I wish him well. I understand it. I wish him well, and I understand it. The guy is angry, he's blind, and he's miserable. And all decisions that he's making are wrong right now. Every decision he makes is wrong. That's what angry people do. They make bad decisions because they're lost in the darkness of the imagination. And I wanted to play that for you because I want you to see that fortune and fame is not going to make you free. It's convenient. Like you can fly, you can have someone clean your house or drive you around, or you go out and shake hands and pretend you're important, but nothing gonna make you free until you're born again of the Father. Men and women, boys and girls, you must overcome the anger. It's the same spirit around the world. The spirit of the devil and the spirit of God. And it dwells in you until you overcome it. So stop believing that if you have more of this or more of that, whatever it might be, if you have more of this, you're more popular, you're more of this or you're more of that, you're internet sensation or whatever. Stop thinking you're going to be happy. You're not. You have a fleeing happiness, and that's not happiness.